Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating philosophical essay that tackles personal growth, the search for meaning, and, well, that age-old question of why we have to experience hardship. I am so excited to share this with you because the framework we're going to unpack today completely shifts how we view the daily obstacles in our lives. So, let's jump right in. All right, let's get started with a story. Picture a young boy named Ollie. He's visiting this stunning, vibrant old rose garden with his grandfather. Ollie is looking around at all these colorful blooms in total awe, and he just sighs and says, "I wish there were only roses." It's an innocent thought, right? Just a pure appreciation for something lovely and comfortable. But reality hits fast. Almost immediately after saying that, Ollie gets pricked by a thorn. Ouch, right? He rubs his hand, cries out in frustration, and asks, "Why are these thorns even here?" Now, this might just seem like a kid complaining, but it's actually a profound question. Why do beautiful things have thorns? Why is pain so often attached to beauty? This little moment perfectly frames the entire analysis we're doing today. Section 1. The Rose and the Thorn. So instead of just yanking the thorn out or brushing it off, the grandfather quietly kneels down next to him. He uses this tiny moment of pain to teach the boy a massive lesson about perception. He explains that not everything beautiful in this world is understood just by how it immediately feels. Some things are intrinsically beautiful, like beautiful in their very essence. Think about concepts like justice, compassion, truthfulness, mercy, love, gratitude. Just like the rose itself, these things remain valuable, regardless of their immediate outcome. They aren't a means to an end, they are the end. We value them simply because of what they are. Moving on to Section 2, Two Types of Beauty. This essay totally shifts how we look at our experiences by breaking beauty down into two distinct categories. On the left side, we have intrinsic beauty. These are things that are immediately pleasant, like that rose. But look over at the right side, beauty by outcome. These are things that are outwardly harsh. They might even hurt at first. Think of an illness, strict discipline, a really tough trial, or, yes, a thorn. But here's the catch. If what they produce is good, like character or resilience or protection, then the process itself becomes wise and ultimately beautiful. It's kind of like a surgical incision. It hurts, sure, but it heals. And this perfectly captures the two ways we actually observe our lives. It's the superficial gaze versus the wise gaze. A superficial gaze is, well, a bit childish. It only measures the immediate feeling. It's like saying, if it's comfy, it's good. If it hurts, it's bad. But that wise gaze on the right, that's real maturity. It considers the long-term outcome and the immense depth and experience brings. It moves us from just complaining about the thorns to actually making peace with the difficult things that transform us. Which brings us to Section 3, the three mirrors. So how exactly do we get that wise gaze? The essay gives us this incredible framework, suggesting that truth reflects like light in three different mirrors. The first is the mirror of identity, or ainila, which means things returning exactly as they are. This mirror reflects the firm promise of ultimate justice. It tells us that literally not a single particle is lost. No intention, no word, no glance just dissolves into thin air. It teaches us that life isn't a random game. It's a journey under record. And this isn't to scare us. It's a call to really take ownership and embrace a deep responsibility for our actions. And that builds right into the second mirror, likeness, or mislié. This is where the door to hope just blows wide open. Think about nature's daily repetitions. A completely barren, dead-looking branch suddenly blooming in spring? That is a likeness of resurrection. It proves that renewal is absolutely possible. The exact same power that revives the dry earth can revive a broken heart, a lost hope, or some dormant potential inside you. It reminds us that miracles aren't just these ancient, grand events. They are daily repetitions happening right in front of us. Then we hit the third mirror, contrast, or zidila. This one is absolutely crucial. It tells us that we literally only figure out the true value of things through their opposites. We only truly know what light is because we've experienced darkness. We only deeply appreciate our health after we've been sick. Opposites don't conflict, they complete each other. Night gives birth to day. Recognizing our own limits and helplessness isn't some terrible weakness. Actually, scratch that, it's the exact awareness we need to connect to a greater source of strength and keep growing. Section 4, reading the universe. When we put these three mirrors together, it changes everything. Life isn't just a random string of stuff happening to you anymore, it becomes a purposeful school, and we become active students. When hardship inevitably hits, here's how you read it. Step 1, using identity. Ask yourself, what did I sow and what am I reaping? Step 2, using likeness, actively hunt for the hope and ask, Does this darkness have a dawn? And step 3, using contrast, look inward and ask, where is my deficiency revealing that I must grow? Asking these specific questions stops us from seeing life as a chain of painful accidents and turns it into a deeply personalized education. Look at how perfectly this all ties together on this table. Each mirror aligns with a specific dimension of time and a critical human lesson. Identity ties us to our past, teaching responsibility. Likeness points us to the future, giving us hope. And contrast roots us right here in the present, providing awareness. When you can read all 3 of these dimensions at once during a tough time, that's when real, true maturity happens. Section 5, not every pain an enemy. All right, to really ground these abstract ideas, let's head back to Ali and his grandfather. Remember, Ali had just gotten pricked by the thorn and was pretty upset. Now they're walking further into the garden. At the edge, there's a tree that looks completely dry. It's the end of winter, and Ali assumes the tree is just dead. But his grandfather softly says, just wait. Weeks go by. When they finally come back, spring has sprung, and tiny green shoots have quietly brought those exact same branches back to life. The grandfather points out that this is the mirror of likeness in action. It proves to the kid firsthand that what seems totally lifeless and impossible can absolutely become real. The grandfather then points at the dirt and basically asks, so was that freezing winter actually bad? Looking really closely at that fragile new growth, Ali pauses, and for the first time he drops that childish superficial gaze. He thoughtfully says, they were difficult, but they were preparing some things. He realizes the harsh winter wasn't the bad guy. It was actively, necessarily preparing the beauty and the blooming of the spring. And finally, Section 6, the door to wisdom. This right here is the absolute core of the whole essay. The grandfather drops this massive final lesson on the boy. He says, not every pain is an enemy, and not every comfort is a friend. He warns Ali that a life with 0 thorns, a life of just pure uninterrupted comfort, would leave the beautiful roses totally unprotected. People would just pluck them carelessly. The pain of the thorn serves a vital purpose. It's what preserves the beauty. Because true wisdom, it's learning to love the roses, absolutely, but also understanding the thorns. Moving from a mindset of constant complaint to one of profound gratitude means we just can't afford to read life in 2D anymore. We have to make peace with the uncomfortable things, the difficult seasons, and the painful outcomes, because those are the exact things that build our character. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you looking at this final, very personal question. What is a thorn in your life right now that is secretly preparing your spring? I really encourage you to take this framework, use those 3 mirrors of truth we just broke down, and try to read your own universe today. Don't just settle for what pleases you, embrace what transforms you. Thanks so much for joining me, and hey, keep seeking the wisdom in the thorns.